Guys, they do magic. They are the magic guys.
Oh, come on. It doesn't want to focus. Do it. It only wants to go on my face. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 247 of the Magic Guys. I'm Josh. I'm B1, and to my left is B2.
Hi, I'm Nick K, also known as B2, and was Doug B3, I suppose?
Yeah, look, Doug's here. He's just running the magic shop right now, but he would be B3, yeah. And for those listening, what I'm referencing to is I'm not wearing a hat today because it's so hot in Australia right now that I have the ceiling fan on, and it's literally going to keep me cool and my camera cool. So you're not going to be able to tell the difference between Nick and I if you're watching in video, except for he's wearing a red shirt and I'm wearing our Trust the Slight tee, yeah boy, which you can obviously get at themagicguyshow.com. Nick, how are you today, my friend?
Living the dream, my dude. It is. Oh, you're right. It is we just said this in the show. Like, it's your thing that keeps dinging. Yeah, weird.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh, look at our friends in the chat, Nick. Who we got here today on this magical Tuesday, Monday?
Oh, we have our friend Thomas Conger in the chat. Good to see you, bud. And thank you for reaching out to me over the weekend. We have Scotty Link. We have Mike. We have, Herbert. Good to see you, buddy. We have the Mystery Box Studio. Tim Askin, Adrian Moore. Guys, thank you all for being here. It's going to be an interesting chat. We do this live. Woo! You can put your questions and so forth in there. Although today is going to be an interesting one because we'll be talking about history. So it's good to see you all here. And for the folks that are in the chat, we sort of debated whether or not we address the awful elephant that's been lurking around the Bondi beaches. And we just wanted to say that a lot of you guys who listen to the podcast reached out to both Josh and myself to make sure we were okay with the awfulness that unfolded there. And we are okay. Our friends are okay down there as well. But there's a majority of folks who aren't okay due to the awful attack that actually unfolded. So firstly, thank you for being our friends and for reaching out to us. We appreciate that. And for everyone who involved who is not okay, our thoughts and prayers will go out to you. And Josh, you want to extend on that?
Yeah, no, thank you for reaching out. It's a scary thing to see, and it's scary for us to see it in our hometown. I immediately reached out to our friend of the show, Michael Webb, Magic Mike, because he lives in Bondi. And no kidding, he had shared a photo of him underneath the restaurant tables with everyone there, and it's horrible. But everyone in our circles that we know of are fine. But yeah, thoughts and prayers to everyone that's going through it, because it's still streets are closed off. And anyway, we're not here to be a news show, but we did want to address it because it is a real thing. It is really happening. But we have a wonderful show in store for you guys. Everyone is well on our end. We just want to assure you that. But yeah, thank you so much for reaching out.
Yeah, thanks to you guys. Thank you.
You brought up magic kits the other week, and we were like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how long they've been around for, right?
That's a good question. Yeah, exactly. Because what had happened, folks, is like Christmas is upon us. And I wonder how many kids are going to be getting their very first magic kit for Christmas.
Ooh, this Christmas, you mean? Oh,
that's what I mean. And so I was like, man, I wonder how long magic kits have been around for. I wonder how many types they are. I wonder how many people got it and actually started their careers because of them getting this. So, their very first kit on Christmas Day. And there's an abundance of world-class famous magicians who were set on this magical path because of the magic kits. And so I ended up going down a rabbit hole and looking into the entire history of the magic kit and how it became so popular as a gift for Christmas.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't have the sound effect, so that's what we're working with.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I look back to, I was 10 when I got my first. I've been given 2 magic kits in my life that played a big part in my career. The first one was when I was 10, and that was, I wish I had the DVD because I feel like it was Daryl or like someone well known.
Oh, proper.
Teaching like, I remember learning it was like a matrix routine, but with dice, because dice you could easily just pinch into your palm, like to make them move across the table. And that's like my one memory. And a card trick that I remember learning. And then the next pivotal one, believe it or not, I hate to say this, but it was the Chris Angel magic kit when I was like 18 or 19. That was the first time I got exposed to like actual like street magic. Like
Wow.
we're talking thread, we're talking thumb tips even. I wasn't properly aware of it back then. Yeah, and I remember learning Haunted Deck and my parents freaking out, and I was like, oh, okay, there's something here. So Chris Angel actually did help through my magic career, which is surprising. What about you, Nick?
Buddy, no, I didn't get into magic till I was 23. And I only just clicked over 41. So it was a long time ago. But yeah, my affinity with magic was a totally different experience. Although I wish I had the opportunity to do that. It just wasn't very prominent in my culture and I guess in my, I don't know, poorer class that I grew up in, perhaps. I'm not sure. But I mean, I'm here now. I'm pretty thankful for it. So
well, I think in Australia, we just generally weren't exposed to a lot of magic, right? Like we didn't get Copperfield specials on TV, or even David Blaine wasn't on like free to air TV. So
yeah.
I think it's just we were late to actually get exposed to it properly, I think.
Yeah. I mean, even Nick here says that he got his first kit when he was 29 and he's 30 now. So my, how far he's come.
That might have been a Doug Con magic kit. That might have been so recent.
So here's the thing. Like, if you ask almost any magician how they got started, there's a really good chance that the story begins with Christmas. And for many of us, magic didn't start in a theater or a magic shop or even a book. It started under the Christmas tree. It was a brightly colored box with a wand and a set of cups and balls made of crappy plastic and maybe a deck of cards that felt like playing with wood chips. You know, it was awful, right? But at that moment, opening a magic kit on Christmas morning has quietly become one of the most important entry points for a young magician to enter the art of magic. And here's what most folks don't actually realize about that. You see, magic kits, they weren't always for kids. They originally were, and I'll get into that, right? And they definitely weren't always magic gifts. So to understand how magic gifts they became a holiday tradition, we need to go way back before the box and before mass production, before stores. And we got to go back to when like magic was still considered kind of dangerous, mysterious, and very adult. So we're going to go all the way back to the 1800s, right? Let me say that again, the 18th and early 19th century, where magic was not seen as cute and harmless. It belonged to, you know, traveling conjurers and fairgrounds and taverns and royal courts and, you know, secret societies. That was how it was very much done back in the day. Magicians guarded their secrets fiercely. It was either like through books, which were rare and expensive, just like today, and often in coded language. But one of the most important texts was Professor Hoffman's Modern Magic, which was printed in 1876. And that's a book that many magicians still reference today. But even Hoffman wasn't writing for the children. It was written for like the gentlemen and the hobbyists and educated adults who had the leisure and the leisure time and the money, because those level of books were quite expensive at that point in time. But at that point in history, there was nothing for the beginner. There was no learn in 10 minutes easy. There was no colorful packaging. This was all the beginning point of the story, right? Because if to learn magic, you either had to, one, have a mentor, have the affluence to afford these expensive books, or just watch and reverse engineer these tricks from watching professionals, right? So magic was exclusive by design. But then something massive happened. The Industrial Revolution. Now, suddenly through the Industrial Revolution, manufacturing became cheaper and printing became faster. And that's when literacy actually increased, because it was easier to print books and so forth. And we effectively, through the Industrial Revolution, we ended up creating a middle class. And that's where the children's market was first born. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, so it wasn't until the middle class that people could afford these kind of gifts for each other and had to look at different kinds of things. So
because it was
back in the day,
Yeah, so back in the day, it would have been like the affluent and the farmer folk, right? And then we started having this middle ground through the Industrial Revolution where things were being able to be manufactured and be manufactured cheaply enough for all to afford. And that kind of leveled things out.
So if there were magic kits back then, it was literally either like cups and balls made of gold or bloody potatoes and cow poo.
Exactly right. Now, in the and he's even saying here that some of the guys have physical copies of the things we're talking about back in the 1920s. And most of the props made back then actually were like made of steel and metal, and they were engineered to last for a very, very long time. Wow. Because children at that point were no longer small adults, because kids worked back then. There was no like child labor laws and so forth. They were all just like, you can lift something, go get in a cave and start digging, So at that point, through the Industrial Revolution, kids were now able to become learners and dreamers and future professionals and basically future consumers. All right. So at this point, this is where the toys industry exploded. Right. Because people were able to make small objects that were like very simple mechanics, and they were basically in a position where they were positioned to make toys of all facets. Now, I'll talk about sort of the most common toys that were released during that time. But let's jump into the first magic kit from that. So, like you said, the first ones, they weren't plastic. They weren't even colorful, but they were fun, right? Most of the apparatus that were included in these original first magic kits were like wooden boxes, like a metal apparatus. The instructional the booklets, they were like crazy dense, and there was very little illustration when they first started, and they were sold as either like a scientific amusement or like a parlor entertainment. That's basically how they were sold back in the day.
Do you think when magic kits first hit the shelves, magicians were pissed?
A little. History suggests that it was a little bit, but the reason it's not exactly is because when they first came out, they were sold to parents and not kids. So they were a means of the adults entertaining the children.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. So one of the earliest companies to lean into this was a company called George Newman & Co., which was in London, followed by another company called Martinka & Co., which was based in New York. Now, these companies had an apparatus collection of not toys, but magical props, which included the cups and balls, linking ring, die box, a change bag, and this book of instructions. That was like their first sort of original kits. And they were often sold as like educational tools to help entertain and educate kids. So the magic market was being, it was more so about teaching the adults to then pass this information to the kids to help them build confidence, teach dexterity, and encourage them with their public speaking.
Okay.
Yeah, which is important because this is how it then became the way of a Christmas griff, right? So by the late 1800s, Christmas had become fully commercialized by that point, right? Where it was all about buying toys. And, the religious aspect was obviously still there, but it was more so like Santa's coming. We're buying gifts. We're promoting economy. We're doing what we need to do, right? And magic had something that the other toys didn't have. And that was, it had like wonder, mystery, and transformation. And a magic kit wasn't just a toy. It was an experience, and it allowed a child to be in control. It allowed them to surprise their adults. It allowed them to perform and also to command attention. Because in a Victorian household, where children were expected to be quiet and obedient, magic gave them this little temporary power where they were allowed to then express themselves and be loud and entertain all the folks and family that were coming to visit during that time. And by the 1900s, magic sets were being advertised in Christmas catalogs. They were displayed in department stores, and they were purchased as a gift that keeps on giving. There we go.
Doug, what's your earliest memory of a magic kit? Was that something you were gifted as a young New Orleanian?
That would have been in Dothan, Alabama when I was 9 years old. I got the top hat magic kit. I grabbed one from the back that was like it.
Oh, wow. Damn. Oh, we're going to get a little expose here.
Oh, that's actually quite flash for the listeners. Yeah. Still wrapped in plastic. I assume it's a very modern version, right, Doug?
No, this is probably old school. Actually, this one
Vintage.
has I think it has a DVD with it, but it has
Alright.
like a table that's built into the kit. So it's got a performing surface. This is a heck of a magic kit for $50. This thing.
Whoa.
But
That's solid.
I also had the one that it came with a top hat. I think that was my first one I got. But yeah, it had been 8 or 9 years old, and I lived in Dothan, Alabama at the time, so it was a pretty small town. Really, the only place you could get magic was to go to like the Walmart of the time, the stores that have all the toys, and that's how we got magic tricks.
Yeah, wow. I wish I still had mine, but I was saying to Nick, I'm pretty sure the one that I had would have had someone famous that I would recognize now. But as a 10-year-old, you just have no idea, right? Like it was probably Daryl as a young kid, or Williamson, or like someone that I just have. Don't know where it is now. It's gone. How are sales at Trick Supply during Christmas, Doug? Are they like? Is it a thing that people are really into during December?
Yeah, I've actually sold certainly more than my average for magic kits. And the thing that kept me late here was a couple of youngsters. I tend, if someone's got a sincere interest in magic, I tend to focus on a little more of a professional prop than a box of plastic things. But yeah, we're doing good.
Is there like a litmus test of like they have to kind of reference a few things or show you a few things before you can gauge like, oh yeah, you're here for this kind of stuff? Or just Svengali deck? I kind
of judge it on the budget of the shoppers. Like obviously some people are going to just want to spend $20 and get as much as they can. But if it's a family or someone that has a few bucks, I'd rather see them get something that they're going to enjoy a lot more than a box of things that for the most part they won't be able to figure out.
Yeah, right. And that's a good way to put it. And what's like the best magic kit in Trick Supply at the moment? Is there one that's
well, I actually put together Khan's kit, which is 8 professional items. So you get like 3 bicycle decks, you get a Professor's Nightmare set, a good quality rope, you get some invisible thread and wax, some sponge balls, magic wand, a nice cheap set of cups and balls. But all of these props are versatile. Like you can do a lot with stripper decks, Svengali decks. You can do a lot with invisible thread. You can do a lot with magician's rope. So I constructed this kit with the intent of having a flexible set of professional apparatus. And then also this kit also comes with video tutorials from yours truly.
That actually sounds what I need for my gigs this week.
I can take that kit and go to work any day of the week as a full professional. Yeah. Tim asking what says show the stocking. Here's what we promote for like you want to get a stocking stuffer for your kids or your friends. Look at this thing for $15. It's got the penny to dime, a stripper deck, the dice, the clairvoyant dice, the magic snapper. There's I think a ball and basin here. So
yeah,
this is a good cheap option, if someone's looking to just get something for Christmas on the cheap.
You've blown my mind. You've just revolutionized the magic kit and now just made it a magic stocking. For those listening, it looks like a legit magic stocking you would buy at Walmart or something where it's like full of candy or whatever. But this is like the first thing I see is 110 magic tricks with a stripper deck and then all these little gizmos for different vanishes.
Well, it's a Las Vegas thing. It's 110 tricks with a stripper. There's no deck involved. In this
Dude, that is
the Las Vegas magic special.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And how much does one of those go for?
I had to raise the price to $15 because when I was pulling them out for Christmas, I said $12. That's insane.
That's only $15?
Right? Yeah. Go to Trick Supply, Sacco Magic.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads to my next point really nicely because by like the early 1900s, magic shifted from being something like exclusive from stage performers and something that only like wealthy parlor entertainers could do to something affordable that children could own. So for $15 to get a sock like that filled to the brim is absolutely awesome. So, and the main three reasons why it was actually affordable is because of the industrial manufacturing, the department stores, and the rise of Christmas as a commercial event. And obviously the association with the magic of Christmas as well. So it was not only something that you watch now, it was something you can actually wrap and gift to a child. And that's where the birth of the magic kit sort of happened as we know it. So before this period, you would buy a single trick, a single booklet, maybe a handmade prop, right? But with the kit, you get multiple tricks, printed instructions, branded packaging, and illustrations of magicians on the box. And that was the template used still to this day, as Doug showed a moment ago. So with the department stores, we had like the Harrods, Selfridges, Macy's, and Sears. And you can see that. Oh, wait. So just at a glance, that box you're showing us, who are the folks in the back of that box there? Does it say who they are?
Let's see. I know we got Jay Marshall, Harry Blackstone. That is a weird looking Harry Houdini. Francis Marshall's on this box. That's interesting. Who is this fellow? Servant Leroy. All right.
Oh, okay.
This is my favorite kit to recommend, the Classic Mysteries of Master Magicians. There's so much good stuff in this one.
Wow.
There's like, for $20, again, how is this price? But
yeah,
look at what's in here.
It's a big box. Like that is an enormously thick box too. Like it's probably like you would almost assume there would be like a gaming console in it. It's so big.
So this is one I like to suggest.
Now, back in the day, the sales folks of these magic kits would perform the tricks live to draw crowds and then sell these sets on the spot. And that basically became like the retail performance art back in its day.
What's our time frame here? What are you like in the early 70s now, or
we've just ventured into the early 1900s?
All right.
Yep. So, with the very early kits that were currently in the department stores, it was David Devant and Maskelyne from the UK, and they were the most respected magicians of their time, and they lent the legitimacy to the magic kits. And so, through their influence, they were able to elevate the toy to them being a craft and make it more instruction focused and emphasis on presentation. And those sets were inspired by Devant, who aimed to teach proper magic, not just puzzles. And then there was the Thayer Magic Company, which, if you can find the secondhand in good nick, the numbers for these types of kits is phenomenal. So the Thayer Magic Company was founded in Los Angeles. They sold professional apparatus. They sold beginner kits and high-end illusions as well. But some of their Christmas magic kits included scaled down versions of their professional tricks. And so it kind of blurred the line between being amateur and professional. And many future magicians encountered these as like the real magic through Thayer. There was also the Hamley's magic set, which is made in the UK. The Hamley toy store in London became synonymous with making these just for Christmas ultimately, because that was when they could get the return on them. So it was Christmas along with all their magic demonstrations. So it was very easy to sell that Hamley set, which was more leaning into like the fantasy of magic, had very bold packaging and very theatrical artwork as well. So for many magicians from the UK listen to this, they would be more familiar with what the Hamley's magic kit was. But that's when the packaging became like fantasy. Now this is crucial because magic kits didn't just sell the tricks, they sold like an identity, because the box featured folks in the tuxedos, the top hats, the capes, glowing hands and floating objects and so forth. And that's something that was sold to the kids to show them this is who you could become. So it wasn't about learning the trick, it was about becoming the magician. That was the way it was promoted and sold to the kids. So the first celebrity magician branding associated with this, as far as all the artworks in the box, there wasn't like, I was trying to see who like the real person was, but the thing was in the early 1900s, they were basically fake magicians, like made up folks. It was like very exaggerated titles like the Master, the Wizard. And it wasn't until much later that real magicians started putting their names on it, because it led them to trust the brand a bit more. It also led folks for the notion of aspiration. If you saw, Chris Angel on there, you could aspire to be like that. And it promoted a little more hero worship, if you will. So kids weren't buying just the toys, they were buying into this notion of self-development and buying into that legacy. They could be like Chris Angel someday.
Chris Angel actually has a pretty nice magic kit.
Yeah.
I like how Drago Tier is saying, I'm a fake magician. We all are, buddy.
Now, the secret sauce of these were obviously like the instruction booklets that came with these kits. You've got the 101 Tricks with a Stripper in that book. These probably weren't too different. They were very thick. They were illustrated and very narrative driven. And some of them, which I love, actually promoted like how to stand, how to speak, and how to act confident. So it was actually teaching stagecraft in amongst how to play with all the apparatus that they were actually gifted in the kit. Some included like full scripts. Some had advice on like how to do applause. And lots of them, if not all of them, actually had warnings about the secrecy. So I still promoted that you still maintain all the rules and be a magician and maintain those secrets, because it was very heavily promoted that magic is not just about the performance and magic is about the performance and not just the mechanics of how those apparatus work. Which I think still
that.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah,
and it probably should be in more magic kits and more. Even in like the dollar stores here, there's the little boxes of tricks, kind of like a Tenyu style, right? Like a little box, one little plastic 3D printed thing. Even that should have some kind of notion of, okay, practice this, but don't show your friends how it's done.
Yeah, I agree. Now, also during this time, sadly, the First World War had happened, and not long after, magic was seen as a notion of escapism for kids. So during that time, families wanted hope, children wanted joy, and parents wanted wholesome entertainment. And magic kits offered them that. They offered imagination, control, and optimism. And a child could feel powerful in the world where it was basically chaotic. Now, this emotional context matters because magic wasn't random. It was comfort for kids who were actually in control of the little something that was surreal and supernatural almost for the majority of them. So that seeded, for a lot of people, a lifelong obsession. Now, we spoke about this earlier, where how many magicians have said, I got a magic kit for Christmas and that changed everything. Or, this is the era during this time where like magic began at home, at Christmas with a box.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the first sentence out of my mouth when people ask how you got into it. It was my birthday, but still, still the old magic kit. Yeah.
And so by the 1930s, magic survived the Great Depression, a world war, and massive changes in entertainment. Now, radio was dominant during this time, but movies were kind of exploding, and vaudeville as a result was fading, and yet magic sets were still everywhere. And in this era, magic was truly said to become a Christmas tradition, not just the toys, but like as portals to becoming magicians. So this era was defined by catalogs. So the catalogs mainly being the J.C. Penney's, the Sears. They were also in like newspaper classifieds and even in comic book ads. Doug, can you contest to this?
The very first trick I purchased was from the back of a comic book. Scott Link mentioned the TV magic cards, and that's what I bought. It was a stripper deck, and I couldn't get the damn thing to work. So it's surprising that I made it past that and stuck with it. I had magic kits before I bought my first trick, but I was like, I'm leveling up. I'm going to buy this single trick deck. And then you had to wait like 8 weeks for the damn thing back in the day to get to your house. It said in the ad, 4 to 6 weeks shipping. Boy, they didn't lie.
Wow. So what a process back then so first of all, you had to buy the comic book. Then you had to
trust the print advertising. It wasn't like social media where you could see someone lie to you on video. They would lie to you in print.
Yeah, it actually says here Like it was always like become a magician, amaze your
Yeah.
friends, no practice required. Like that was the main sort of.
Wow, they were still slinging that no practice required stuff back then as well.
Yeah, they're
And
still slinging that.
Imagine, but like I feel like print could really fool you even more. Like, you know,
It was the
penetrate-
worst, man. Every week,
yeah.
every month, you get the flyer in the mail from Tannins or Hank. Steven's Magic had a good one, but man, yeah, you have line drawings and magic advertisement lies. That's what you had to go on.
Wow.
They could just say the wildest stuff. Know what any spectator is thinking without them writing anything down or them telling you, and it's like just something stupid.
And then you had to vision how, if you were lucky enough to think it could work, then you had to envision the whole skit. Again, no video demos. You know, it's just like, what is this supposed to look like?
Yeah.
Kids today, y'all got it easy.
We do.
Yeah.
And we say kids today because between 1930s and 1960s, the staples of the Christmas tree for a young boy was effectively either a train set, a chemistry kit, model airplane, or magic kit. And here's why. Because they were cheap to manufacture, they felt educational, so parents were obviously happy to promote that. They encouraged confidence and presentation, and they didn't require batteries or supervision to play with them. And so parents loved that.
No doubt. You want a
And they
magic
didn't-
kit, Doug? Good. We'll see you in 3 days. Go to your room.
Yeah.
Were they
And so
giving
there
out magic wands back then?
Yeah. So there's totally common. Now, I did a little research as to like the most common ones of the time. There was the Thayer Studio of Magic, which was like they were just really nice, high quality stuff, more serious for professional learning. But their kits weren't always toys; they were scaled down versions of like really cool illusions. They had the Abbott's one, which was more based for beginners, and they had like a really good reading material. Like they were more based on like sort of books. There was the Abbott's one, which was had your cups and balls, your linking rings, a ball and vase, and your silks. There was a Marshall one, which was really good, and that was more pitched towards like, so Marshall Bowden was actually a magician, very popular magician for the time, and so having that branding on it really helped promote like, oh, you could be a TV personality, you could be this type of pitchman, and so forth. And his sets were sold out through the toy stores and department stores. And eventually later, they were actually advertised in television ads. So these kids' first exposure to televised magic was through that. And it was Marshall Bodian who popularized the Svengali deck. Because that was his kit that had the Svengali deck at first. And the Svengali deck just took over.
Well, he put it on television. He had I think the first video commercial with a magic trick, right? Were you saying that? Did you say that?
Correct.
Yeah.
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 And
He's the
many-
same one that advertised those damn stripper deck cards I bought from the catalog, from the comic book I couldn't do.
Yeah. I mean, the Svengali deck was like the centerpiece of a magic kit set.
Imagine
Look at
seeing
this
that
set
on
of books I
TV.
grabbed off the shelf. You're talking about Thayer quality magic?
Yeah. Is that what that is?
These are the Thayer catalogs.
Whoa.
This is 4 volumes. They reprinted it. I'll give a brief idea of like what's in there.
Whoa.
So
That's
yeah, it's like
nuts.
that's what we had to go on back in the day. A line drawing, and a
Mm.
bunch of text. Man, this company must have done pretty well for themselves to have 4 freaking volumes of catalogs available. Anyway, if you want to learn more about Thayer magic, getting that trick supply plug in today.
I'd never even heard of Thayer magic.
We sell a lot of these. I don't know how we ended up with a bunch of these volumes of Thayer quality magic, but this is obviously a desirable set that we do send out of this space on a regular basis.
Are these like a competitor to the Tarbell magic course?
This is just a reproduction of their catalogs. So it's just It's just tricks and their descriptions of what they sold in the catalogs. You could buy this, or you could buy that, or you could buy that. So there's no actual methods. It's just the effects they were selling.
Oh, right. It's just the actual catalog
sales
sheet.
Are these? No, these do have the instructions with, hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live, we have a revolutionary
Well, that's what's sort of cool, because
discovery.
in my research, like, these particular ones were popular, and the reason being is that they actually, like, as well, I know they were very simple with line drawings, etc., but they taught memory, they taught presentation, timing, they even taught how to bow, how to introduce yourself, and how to speak clearly.
That's incredible.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Now,
I remember Cellini, one of my mentors. He was talking about his first lesson with Slidini. He learned everything from Slidini, did all his material. But the first lesson was how to walk onto a stage. So he said, "Okay, Jim, walk into the room as you're about to start." And that's where the lessons began. Not how to lap, not how to do a double lift, but how to present yourself to an audience before the show starts.
Wow.
Old school.
Yeah. Now, of course, many famous magicians, their magical journey was start with ultimately the Christmas magic set. And some of the folks who have attested to that are folks like, we have David Copperfield, Doug Henning, Johnny Thompson, Lance Burton, and also Jeff McBride, who all started from getting their kits on Christmas.
Did David Copperfield put out a Copperfield magic set back in the day, Doug?
He did.
I don't think he did. I think I would have known about a DC magic kit.
Pretty sure he did, because
Copperfield?
yeah, the reason I say that is Milton Bradley made one for David Copperfield. It was very limited
in the day.
Yeah, it was very limited, and they're very valuable if you have either the prototypes or the factory samples of this. If they're like still sealed and have all the tricks in there that weren't part of the main production, you're looking at 30 grand for that set.
Nice.
Man.
Yeah.
Just think for a second, what would be in a Copperfield magic set? Like, I'm thinking like hair product, like hand sanitizer, like
a Hulk suit to wear.
Condoms.
Prenups, lots of prenups for every girl you meet.
Yeah. NDAs.
Oh man.
Pirate
floating
shirt.
rose.
Pirate
I don't know.
shirt.
Like
pirate shirt.
Pirate shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shoulder pads.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like, because he is so finicky about detail and quality. Like, I wonder what would actually be inside a magic kit by Copperfield. It'd be some insane things.
Look, it depends. A lot of them just had like a coin slide and things like that, like very simple but beautiful sort of thing. So it depends, There's many different versions of it, but they weren't all too dissimilar from each other.
Like, someone should bring out a magic kit that costs $1,000. So it's an investment, but you get like the best shit. And I think I would buy
like a smoke watch and an ox bender.
Right.
And,
yeah. Double
It
cross.
also comes with like a suit for you to wear at your gigs.
Deodorant.
Atop it. Yeah, deodorant.
Breath mints.
Extra deodorant. Mints. An Arctic cooling vest.
Okay, let's at the end of this episode, let's make a kit, all right? Because keep rolling, because by the 1950s to 1960s, magic kits were expected at Christmas, and toy companies planned on yearly releases for these. Some kids did magic for a week and then threw them away, and then some never stopped. Now, by the 1950s, they exploded in popularity, and that was because of the post-World War II economic boom. Suburban life had well and truly settled in by then. We weren't farmers as much anymore. Department stores became cultural hubs, and TV entered the homes of a lot of folks and helped with the promotion of magic being popular, of course, and Christmas ultimately being the ultimate consumer holiday. So what better gift than a magic kit? So magic kits didn't just sort of survive this era, they really thrived. And by that period, magic sets were a very niche, as well as being a sort of niche curiosity, it became a kind of rite of passage for most children. And everyone I know, when I perform at a gig, there's always at least one person who's like, I used to do this as a kid, if you're at a large scale event. So this could be where anyone's magical journey begins. So, no, just me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Testify. I say we give thanks to Bill Bixby, who put The Magician on television, and Doug Henning, and all the modern masters who saw television as a viable space to promote the art. And I think that definitely had an influence on the popularity of magic kits in the golden age of department stores.
Wow. Okay. So let's skip to this interesting bit where it's more like the big names behind the boxes. So, because here's the thing. So Marshall Brodian, you know the name?
Brodeen, TV magic cards. That's my guy. The guy that almost ruined everything for me.
Okay. So he sold millions of these, is what was reported. And his popularity was gained from performing on the Ed Sullivan Show. And he created the TV magic cards, which was then later branded as like the Marshall Brodeen magic set. So his kit included the Svengali style decks, coin trick, sponge bowls, paddle tricks, and instructions. And his instructions were described as that they felt very personal, which was kind of cool. And that's because he understood the magic kits weren't about the tricks, they were about the possibility. And because of that, he sold millions of these. And if you look in our comments, you'll see that Scott Link actually had one. So, and it looks like Doug may have one as well.
We have the TV magic cards on the back, but this is the man himself, and this is a pretty cool kit, actually.
Oh, wow.
So that is Marshall Brodeen. This is the TV magic show kit. But this is the guy that revolutionized magic, advertising it on a television.
Wow.
Wormies, the wiggle worm.
So that thing's been around since the 1950s?
Would it have been that? Like this is not vintage, but
but it still exists.
I got some of the TV magic cards in the back, but they're a little bit back there, so I'm not going to go digging for those right now. But if you wanted to see what those look like, I could do it.
Yeah, that's crazy because like as we sort of go down the chain, we're looking in like the 1970s, and that's when Marvin Magic changed the game because they had released
great company.
Yeah, now Marvin Magic's kits were known for like better quality props and more clearer instructions, consistent branding, and also really strong ties to real magicians. And so this is where often kids were first exposed to this professional style of magic, which it says here was actually still dominating the Christmas shelves today. And so for a lot of folks in the UK as well as Australia, Marvin's was the first sort of spark to get that going as far as kids goes.
Wow. This took me a little longer than I wanted to, but I found a photo, if it's real, of Copperfield's magic kit. Doug, you got to see this too, if you can hear us. But this is what Google brings up. An old school Copperfield.
Let's go.
That's so 70s.
As seen on national TV, 60 magic tricks you can perform. It includes a magician's table. Oh, look at this for the selling points. The set includes magician's table, storage container, publicity poster, magic wand, plus book of 50 tricks.
I love that you get the publicity poster.
That's hilarious.
That definitely goes in the Copperfield kit.
And a storage container. Why do you have to mention that there's a storage container? within it to.
We have to teach them at a young age for all the magic crap they buy. You need someplace to put it all.
Good point.
I mean, it might have just been a concern when they did their market research where, like, what do mothers want? Somewhere they can keep it. Okay, well, tell them there's a container in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So during this time, I mean, you look at Copperfield, but you got to sort of look between the time of the 1950s to the 1980s, where kids were watching magicians of this ilk. Now, during that time, we had folks like Mark Wilson, Doug Henning, Paul Daniels, David Nixon. There was also the Magic Circle specials that were being televised as well as Christmas variety shows. And here's the important part. Kids didn't just watch magic. They were told, you can do this too, as shown on the Copperfield box. So in these sets, look, there's always a variation as to what's in there. We've got like a cups and balls, linking rings, ball and vase, vanishing silk, coin slides, paddle tricks, Svengali decks, thumb tips, plastic wands. And look, it's not a random choice as to why this was actually being done. The reason these were promoted for the kids was because the majority of these tricks were angle safe, they were reset friendly, they were nearly indestructible, and they were designed for living room performances, which I know magicians who still like hold that ethos to this day and want to be that type of style where it's like, let me show you another trick, let me show you another trick, you know, as if they were performing in their lounge rooms.
Let me tell you, I had some living room performances in my day.
Yeah.
I threw down a time or two in the living room.
With that
I had the cassette
101
player,
tricks with the stripper.
You know, the cassette box. That was my music. I had he's a magic man. You know, I was rocking that shit.
That's so cool.
Back then, was everyone trying to do a silent act?
Back then, as though everyone knew what everyone was doing. No one knew what anyone was doing in the 80s. You could ask your neighbor what they were doing, they'd tell you, but you didn't know what all the magicians were doing. Because
the famous magicians I see on TV back then, they would do something towards the lines of like appearing coins from the fingertips. Then they would like do a torn and restored newspaper. Then they'd roll it up with a cane in the middle, pour salt on it. The cane would disappear. It was always like
sounds about right.
Like that, right?
Yeah,
and then doves,
but
it was always like
my vibe.
Yeah, and it was great, but it was always to music. So I wonder if, like, for a long time, that's how kids would practice their magic kits. Like, would they practice with "I'm a magic man" and do like a silent act, like as a 7-year-old, you know, manipulating balls or something? I reckon.
Yeah, well, it's also what's cool about this as well is that ordinarily, you know, when you look back at the early 1800s, magic was only ever passed down through mentorship. But what's cool about this is that the instruction manuals effectively became the silent mentors of these children. So with some of them teaching not only how to do the tricks and use the apparatus, it also taught them stagecraft and how to hold themselves and how to practice alone, how to perform for family. As well as that, how to self-teach themselves. It taught them about trial and error, and it also taught them about the ownership of the magic as well, to own it and protect it. So, Josh?
Herbert, what are you doing, buddy? Look at this. We've got to give Herbert some love here. Should be enough for a Woolies Christmas pudding. Saw it 3 ways. Herbert with the $20 donation. Mate, where's my little...
Mate, I can't believe it. Thank you so much.
Ah, bro.
Is that an Aussie thing? A Woolies Christmas pudding? What is that?
Yeah, Woolworths is like our Walgreens
Walmart.
or, you know.
What?
Oh, come on.
What?
Hang on. Stop the podcast right now. You guys have lost your mind. Aisle 4, clean up in aisle 4. Okay, you guys are showing off now. David coming in with the $100 donation. Just want to say thank you for a year of entertainment.
Thank you, David.
Jeez. Not to take away from Herbert. Herbert, we still very much appreciate you. And a regular donator. But David is just showing off now. And nice to see that the gigs have been going well for you in December.
So cool.
Thank you, friend. Thank you for your kindness. Merry Christmas.
Guess we don't have to split the pudding anymore.
We each get our own pudding now.
You get a pudding. You get a pudding.
You know what? Just to bring it full circle, I think next week we should all have a pudding in front of us when we do next week's episode from our friends here. Kindly donating. What do you think? Can we arrange to get a pudding in front of each of us next week?
I can get a pudding.
Yes.
Let's all eat pudding and custard live.
You have to PayPal me my cut first, though.
Yeah, no, it's coming to you.
I can afford the pudding.
Once that converts to American, the size might be different to ours of the pudding, cool. But yeah. we're getting you a pudding, Doug.
Figure it out.
For next week as well, just while we're on this topic, we want to make an episode of the people. So we want to hear what you've been up to in this season, whether it's you've been doing gigs. We want to hear the wacky gig stories, or just mentally how it was getting through all those gigs, or anything you've learned doing it, or just in general about your year, like anything you just want to share with the Magic Guys universe. So we're going to mention it on our Instagrams as well, but we want to make it, we just want to be able to sit back, hear what you guys have been up to, and sort of respond to it. So the speak pipes are always in the links of everywhere you watch our videos, or you can just go to themagicguyshow.com, scroll down, you'll see the leave a speak pipe. We already have 2 banked up from our friends that just sent them in while we've been streaming. But we want to sit back with our pudding, enjoy, and hear you guys take over. And I think that'll be super, super fun. Scott, did I say sound pipe? I meant speak pipe if I said sound pipe. Although sound pipe, that is essentially what it is. A pipe coming through of your sound.
I never call it the proper thing.
Now, I just can't believe we've just doubled our earnings of the Magic Guys show for the year now from this one episode.
How good's that?
That is incredible.
Yeah. Now let's wrap up this, guys. So just to reiterate, there was a lot of things that history in itself, along with the Industrial Revolution, that resulted in us being able to produce these magic kits and influence some of the greats. Some of the greats include Copperfield. Even Penn Jillette was inspired by this. He says that it was the early exposure to magic kits and joke shop magic which inspired him. And his emphasis was how bad magic pushed him to think critically and make good stuff. Even Darren Brown was gifted a magic kit at his career. And it even says that Di Vernon was gifted one of these as well as a child. So there is a lot of important framing involved here, okay? Because magic sets didn't make these magicians great. It opened the door and made them feel powerful, and it turned the impossible into a maybe I can learn this. And that's the important thing about getting one's first magic kit. So think about that as you go into Christmas this season, and anyone who you think might be a potential great magician someday, because the first time a child experiences this secrecy, it's a wonderful thing, because it's the first time that they will own knowledge that others don't. And it's the first time they can control an emotional reaction that they can gift people through the art of magic. It's the type of thing that will teach them timing, patience. It will teach them how to rehearse. It'll teach them failure. And it'll also teach them confidence. And it's all going to be wrapped up in a little bit of brown paper underneath the Christmas tree. So magic kits still matter, even in a digital age, because sure, there's stuff out there on YouTube and TikTok that exposes everything, but that's not what a magic kit is about. It's not about teaching or exposing. It's about influencing them. It's about teaching them the physical engagement with props, economy of movement. It's teaching them how to delay their reward and not just look at something, know it, and then doom scroll. Magic is something that's earned through these practices, through rehearsing. There's a level of ownership that they will inherit. This is your secret. The moment you tell someone that secret, it's not worth anything anymore. And that's the beauty of a magic kit. So I say this because there's a kind of a responsibility to the modern magician, and there's a strong place to land philosophically, I suppose. And that's just to go forward and take a little moment to respect the beginner magician and not mock the magic sets, and just a little reminder that look at where we came from to where we're going. Because every cheap plastic trick has potentially the ability to give someone their first standing ovation, their first moment of wonder, or even inspire their career. So I kind of want to close by saying that with a magic kit, you can give someone identity, imagination, and possibility. And these are all permission slips to try something impossible. So this Christmas, when the kid opens a magic kit and half the tricks barely work and the instructions are confusing and the one feels cheap, just remember that's exactly how a lot of us started. And for a few of those kids, the box won't be a toy. It'll be a beginning.
Yes, indeed.
And for a lot of us, that's still how we are now. We're still opening boxes of tricks that arrive, and it's still sometimes a crappy plastic thing.
Yeah.
Look, I had to start working at a magic shop to keep the vibe flowing. Like, I'm like a kid at Christmas every day in this joint.
Yeah.
It's so fun to be here.
All right. So I was just going to say, in the closing moments of this episode, if we were going to make the Magic Guy's magic kit.
Yes. Just as Dragotiris brought up. Okay, so deck of cards already in the set. What are you guys putting in the rest of it? Now, are we going like gimmicks, or are we going like props that you have to, intense sleight of hand learn with? Okay, let's pick one thing, or like one or two things each that would go in it.
Arctic cooling vest. Done.
Maybe that's like the professional survival kit.
Okay. So the Magic Kids, not the Magic Guys, the Magic Kids magic set.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So a Magic Kid should have a wand, most definitely. Right? Maybe a rising wand.
That's a good choice. A wand that includes a gimmick with it, so it does something. Yeah,
that's good. Now I'm trying not to jump straight to what I know are in normal magic kits. I'm trying to think of like what we would put in it. Now, here's a question, Doug. If this is for kids, obviously sponge bunnies is a great effect, but should kids be given that to learn, or should it be reserved for when adults show kids?
Yeah, both actually. I think sponge balls in particular is a good trick to introduce to a young magician, because it gives them they have to use skill to make the magic happen, as opposed to just buying gimmicked apparatus to make the trick work. As I was late to this podcast, I was selling a family, had two young men, children, and their father. They got some sponge balls. They got a rising cards. It's a great, easy, powerful trick. They got a set of D-lights.
Oh yeah, it's a great idea. D-lights is awesome.
They're just fun, right? You can have fun with that, whether or not you're creating magical moments. Kind of can't go wrong with D-lights. And then the father was suggesting the ball and vase, and I pivoted towards we have a nice plastic chop cup that we sell for like $8, and this kid was like 10 or 11 years old, so a little bit beyond the plastic ball and vase, and so they got one of those too. I kind of mentioned my kid earlier. Like, I feel like that could go in any starter kit, but that's an example of what I sold less than an hour ago. And man, whenever I have this just makes my day when a father comes in with his children to show them the magic shop experience. And then I see these kids light up, and, the dad wanted a close-up pad. So the kid was like, oh, I got to get one too. And he got a pad. And I know they're all going to go home later. They're not going to be watching a computer screen, or, they're going to be spending time together, rehearsing the magic, bonding as a family. And, it doesn't happen enough in this room. It's like, I wish I could do this all day long. But that's what I did earlier. Anyway, on a tangent there.
Oh, wholesome content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liquid forks going in there. That's what I remember getting shown when I went into.
Wow.
What liquid forks?
When I went into Hey Presto in Pitt Street back in the day in Sydney.
Wow.
One of the first things the magician there showed me was the bending fork, Morgan Strebler's Liquid Metal DVD.
What?
He performed it, and it blew my mind so much that I had to buy it instantly because I couldn't understand how he was mentally bending these forks. And I freaking bought it, and then so did the next idiot that came in after me. And I never performed it for like 2 years after getting that DVD because I was such an amateur at the time.
Okay. I think I know what needs to be in the kit. Okay, so I think that like a rising wand to begin, some crappy basic cups and balls, right? Or just cups, with some balls. I think a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Okay, you with me?
Yeah.
And I think maybe even a change bag.
A change bag. Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a good change bag could be really good. That
My
is
buddy Scott Shippey, local professional, worked magic counters for 20 years in this city. He was in here yesterday buying tricks for his nephews and nieces.
Mm-hmm.
You got a change bag. I'll tell you one other thing you got. And this is a good example of modern magic kits. Like it's not a kit, but this is Zach King's deal. And you can find in like Walmart and modern shopping environment inside of a magic shop. So this is an example of a modern professional doing well for themselves that can reach a lot of people and how he would market magic to, the public. And these are one-trick wonders, kind of like Tenyo stuff, but with Zach King, promoting it in the modern media and bringing it to the public. So those are all great. Anything in that line is fantastic.
How many consist in the trick starters sort of lineup at the moment?
They launched with 4, and I would expect there'll be more. I know our distributor is sold out of 2 of the items already. So I don't know what the pipeline is to get stuff to like Murphy's Magic after Walmart gets it, but Murphy's can't keep it in stock. So
wow. What are they retailing at?
$20 a piece, which is, a bit much, but also it's a quality apparatus that a kid can give a, really strong experience with, and you're not rolling the dice on 75 tricks. You're just buying one killer piece, right?
Yeah. And a highly desirable collectible, which is kind of cool. And I kind of want to share one more tidbit because I looked at all the different prices of what these go for, and I wanted to find what was the highest paid magic kit. And there was a complete Houdini associated box set. And this kit sold for over $200,000 at auction. Did you see it at Copperfield's museum, Doug?
Did I see what?
Did you see it at Copperfield's museum?
Wow, I didn't. Is it there?
I know he's got some bank, and I know that he has a.
I'll tell you, that's an easy place to miss something. I'm sure he's got probably 3,000 magic kits in that warehouse. I've the best moment of that tour was David talking about when he saw this guy pitching this trick. His first, the first trick he bought from a magic pitchman, and then it blossoms into Tannen's magic shop. Do I remember a magic kit? No. I'm sure there's a bunch there though.
Yeah. Oof. Well, on that bombshell.
On that bombshell. Look, now I'm excited for next week. We're gonna have a pudding each. We're gonna it'll be the last episode before Christmas. It'll be the
pudding is enough, Norbito. Pudding is all we need to know.
Pudding and speak pipes. That might be what it's called. The episode.
So we know you guys have been busy. We know you've done a bunch of green room stuff. Nick's been judging everyone. Bless your heart, Nick. We know there's going to be some good stories. So let's promote you guys. Let's celebrate you guys and how well you've done over the year, because I know that a lot of you guys have been listening. Anyone who's part of our Discord sees that you guys are gigging, you're creating. There is so much cool stuff in our Discord if you are not a part of it. In fact, a lot of folks who have been talking about like Magic Club stuff and that they wanted to be part of them and so forth, and should they join them and whatever else. And I was kind of like, I don't know, man. Do we become a club? Do we become a Discord club where we catch up once a month? I don't know. But because I don't know how to run a club, but I'm entertaining the idea. So what I'm getting at is, folks, like, we want to do, like, magic clubs do a thing called harmony. And what you do is you talk about stuff you've learned, stuff you want to share. You guys have been doing gigs. We want to hear about it while we eat pudding. So please send through your speak pipes. We'll put the link in our Discord as well as in the link of this video. We want to hear from you.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.